Hello, I'm Bailey Leisure, and this is my Week 3 picks video, as I will be picking the Week 3 of the 2018 NFL season. I'll be giving a preview of all the games, and talking about who will win these football games this week. So the Thursday night football game will be the Jets versus the Browns. Both teams coming off disappointing losses, and the Browns are looking like they're trying to end that winless streak. I think this will be a tight game, and I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to pick the Browns. I feel like they'll win. This is at home. I feel like the Browns, these are the last two games, they're getting so close to winning a football game again, and I feel like they will do it this week. I think the key in this game will be better special teams play. They got to make those field goals and extra points, and they need to have better play calling, especially if they have leads late, and they have to manage the clock a little bit better than they have. 49ers versus Chiefs. This is a really good game between two great up-and-coming quarterbacks, Jimmy Garoppolo and Patrick Mahomes. And I think this will be a big offensive contest, excuse me. I like the weapons a little bit more for the Chiefs, and the fact that this is at home. I'm gonna go with Patrick Mahomes and that Chiefs offense to win this game. Saints versus the Falcons. These NFC South matchups are always in big contest. This is at home. The Saints have not looked that good to start off the season, to be honest. That was the case last year. I think what the Saints are really missing on their offense is what was successful for them last year, which was that running back tandem of Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram. Alvin Kamara, I realize, has dealt with some injuries, and Mark Ingram is still serving his third game of that performance-enhancing drug suspension. So with that, I like the Falcons, considering this is at home. I'd expect this to be a close matchup, and it could go either way, but I like Matt Ryan at home a little bit better in this. Packers versus the Redskins. Packers coming off a tie, and the Redskins coming off a disappointing loss after a very impressive Week 1. I feel like Aaron Rodgers will be a little bit healthier this week, and I just like the quarterbacks matchup better. And this one, I'm going to go with the Packers. Bills versus the Vikings. This is just going to be the biggest blowout game, if you ask me. The Vikings, I think, will bounce back. This is at home. Bills have not looked that impressive at all. They've looked terrible. The Vikings, I think, just have more weapons, and they're going to win this game easily. Giants versus the Texans. Both teams starting off 0-2 this year, which is kind of a surprise. I would have thought they would have at least been both 500. This is at home. I mean, this is a critical game for both teams. I don't think either of these teams want to start off 0-3. But I like the Texans in this game a little bit more, just because it's at home, and I feel like that offensive line is just going to have more troubles against the Texans. So I'm going to go Colts versus the Eagles, a great quarterback matchup. This will be the return of Carson Wentz, who's returning from that torn ACL that he sustained towards the end of last year. I think Carson Wentz will have a pretty decent game. He's not going to set the world on fire, but I feel like he'll do enough. I like the weapons a little bit more for the Eagles, and I'm going to go with Philadelphia in this one. The Raiders versus the Dolphins. I don't think anybody. After the trade, I think everybody in this matchup probably thought, looking at this Week 3 matchup, thought both these teams would be 0-2, but that's not been the case. The Raiders, it has been the case after trading Khalil Mack, but the Dolphins are surprisingly off to a 2-0 start. And I feel like this is like the Buccaneers coming into this week. I like the team that's on the hot streak, a little bit off to a nice start this season. And I'm going to go with the surprising Miami Dolphins to win this football game. So the Bengals versus the Panthers, both teams kind of off to surprising starts, at least for the Bengals at the very least. And I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Bengals in this game. So, Titans versus the Jaguars. So, normally, you'd think of it, the Jaguars are a better team. But I think the key in this game was last year's performance. The Titans won both matchups against the Jacksonville Jaguars last year. And I think that could be a big momentum builder for them and why they could win this week. But, considering Marcus Mariota is still dealing with an injury, I do like the Jaguars more on paper, and plus Blake Bortles is coming off a really good performance. I like the defense more, and I'm going to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Broncos versus the Ravens. Broncos off to a decent 2-0 start, even though Case Keenum doesn't look that impressive. I think the key in both of these teams, will be defense. And I'm going to go with the Ravens in this one, kind of a surprise pick. I feel like Chargers versus the Rams, the battle of the LA teams. Great quarterback play, some decent really good running back, excuse me, and then some decent defenses. Even though the Rams defense is one of the best in the NFL, personally, I think is the best in the NFL right now. I think this is just gonna be a really good matchup, and I think this will be a close one. But I like the Rams at home, and I'm going to take them in this game over the Chargers. Bears versus the Cardinals. Bears coming off a good win against the Seahawks, and the Cardinals have just not looked impressive in their last 2 games. I think the key for this Cardinals, even if you don't win this football game, is to look competitive, which they have not done in the last 2 weeks. They've just looked horrible on offense to start off the season. It's Steve Wilks is just showing how much more of a defensive coach he is than an offensive coach. And I think the other key has been Mike McCoy's play calling hasn't been that great either. They decided to stick with Sam Bradford in this game, and so I'm going to go with the Bears in this one over the Cardinals. The Cowboys versus the Seahawks. The Seahawks have just not looked good in the first 2 weeks. The Cowboys haven't looked that great either. But I just think the key will once again, like their Cowboys' last matchup against the Giants, is line play, and the Seahawks' offensive line is just as bad as the Giants. And I think that will be a key matchup in this game. And I like the Cowboys' lines once again more than their opponents, so I'm going to take the Cowboys. The Patriots versus the Lions, Sunday Night Football matchup. The Patriots are facing their former defensive coordinator, Matt Patricia's team. Matthew Stafford had a pretty impressive game. The Patriots didn't look that great. Both these teams coming off losses. I think this will be a quarterback matchup, and I think both teams will do a little bit better. But I like the Patriots a little bit more, and if Josh Gordon starts, it's going to be really interesting. He might be the X factor coming into this game. But I think the key will be Rob Gronkowski. When him and Tom Brady are on target, they're one of the best quarterback to tight end receiver tandems in the NFL, and I think they'll have a pretty big game, and I'm going to go with the Patriots in this one. The Steelers versus the Buccaneers. The Steelers not off to a great start. 0-1-1. There's been a lot of drama on off the field. Le'Veon Bell, I don't really expect him to play again this week. The Buccaneers coming in really hot. Ryan Fitzpatrick coming off back-to-back 400-yard games to start off the season. And I'm going to go with the Buccaneers. And I think this is key for this game. But if Ryan Fitzpatrick plays well, even if he loses, if he has throws near 300 yards, throws maybe a couple touchdowns, and they play a competitive game, I personally think they should keep with the hot hand once Jameis Winston's suspension is over at the end of this week. You got to continue with it, and you like your position. After Jameis Winston's suspension, you have a winning record, and I'm going to take the Buccaneers in this one because I feel like... And that's it for my video this week. Follow me on Twitter at BaileyLaser96. If you like the video, click like, subscribe, and leave your comments below in the comment section on what you think will happen in the 2018 NFL season in the 3rd week of the season. So thanks everybody for watching, and I will see you all later.